My name is Spencer Phillips. I'm 46 years old, and I've spent the last 14 years married to a woman I thought I knew. I work as a risk management analyst at Fortis Financial Group, spending my days calculating probability and exposure. The irony isn't lost on me that I missed the biggest risk sitting right across the dinner table. We were at the Riverside Resort for my college roommate's wedding. Beautiful venue on Lake Hawthorne. White tents, string lights, the whole production. Lydia and I had driven up Friday afternoon with kids. Levi, our 16-year-old, was back at the hotel room, gaming online with his friends. Chloe, our 9-year-old, was at the resort's kids club making friendship bracelets or whatever they do there. Just the two of us on the terrace, overlooking the water. Should have been romantic. Would have been, maybe, 10 years ago. Lydia sat across from me, wine glass in hand, that casual elegance she perfected over the years. She worked as an investment advisor, always polished, always calculated. Even her smiles felt like they'd been through a risk assessment matrix. I was watching the sunset paint the lake copper and gold when I noticed her phone light up. She glanced at it, and something shifted in her expression. Not quite a smile, more like anticipation. Her thumb moved fast, typing something, then deleting it, then typing again. "Everything okay?" I asked, reaching for my water. She looked up, that practiced smile sliding into place. "Just work." Client panicking about the market again. It was Saturday evening. Her clients didn't panic on weekends unless they were lying. She set her phone face down on the table, but 30 seconds later it buzzed again. She picked it up immediately, angling the screen away from me with a subtle tilt that probably looked natural to anyone else. But I'd been married to her for 14 years. I knew every one of her tells. I watched her type another message, her wedding ring catching the fading light. She was sitting 2 feet away from me, and she might as well have been in another state. "Lydia," I said quietly. She didn't look up. "Who are you texting?" "I told you, Spencer. A client." She locked her phone and set it down again, but her hand stayed near it, protective. "Can we just enjoy the evening?" I nodded, took a sip of water, and let the silence stretch between us. She picked up her wine, took a long drink, then excused herself to the restroom. She took her phone with her. Naturally, the moment she disappeared through the terrace doors, I sat there staring at the empty chair across from me. My hand was steady. My pulse was calm. Years of analyzing risk had taught me something valuable. Panic clouds judgment. Action requires clarity. When she came back 10 minutes later, her lipstick was freshened, her hair smoothed. She sat down and immediately reached for her phone again. "Sorry about that," Lydia said, not sounding sorry at all. "Where were we?" "You were texting someone," I said evenly. She laughed, light and dismissive. "Spencer, you're being ridiculous." "Am I?" She met my eyes then, and for just a second I saw it. The calculation, the slight narrowing of her gaze as she weighed her options. Deny, deflect, or double down. She chose deflection. "You've been stressed at work." "I get it, but don't take it out on me." I didn't respond. I just watched her fingers move across the screen again, watched the way her mouth curved slightly as she read whatever response she'd gotten. She was texting her lover while sitting right next to me. And the worst part, she didn't think I had a clue. I waited until Lydia excused herself again. She claimed she needed to check on Chloe at the kids' club, but she took her phone and her purse, which told me everything I needed to know. The kids' club didn't require a full handbag and freshly applied lipstick. The moment she disappeared through the terrace doors, I didn't hesitate. Her tablet was in her tote bag under the table. She used it for work presentations, client portfolios, that sort of thing. More importantly, it synced automatically with her phone. I pulled it out, powered it on. No password. She disabled it months ago because she kept forgetting it. Careless. Or maybe she just never thought I'd look. Her messages loaded within seconds. The most recent conversation sat at the top. Contact name, RH. Raymond Hartley. My boss. Chief Risk Officer at Fortis Financial. The man who'd hire me 6 years ago. The man whose wife Angela was my cousin. I felt nothing at first. Not rage, not heartbreak, just this cold, clarifying focus like frost spreading across glass. The messages went back months. Hundreds of them. I scrolled through quickly, my jaw tight. "Can't wait to see you this weekend." He has no idea. The Grandview Hotel, Friday night. Room 412. "Tell Spencer you're at that conference in Boston. I'll handle the rest." Boston. 3 months ago. She told me it was a mandatory investment summit. Show me the registration confirmation and everything. I'd watched the kids that entire weekend while she was in a hotel room with my boss. I kept scrolling. More hotels. More lies. More weekends she'd invented excuses for. The Chicago client emergency. The Denver portfolio review. All fiction. Then I found a message from 2 weeks ago that made my blood run cold. Lydia, I think we should make this permanent. We could start over somewhere new. Both of us. Raymond, what about Spencer? The kids. Lydia, Levi's almost out of high school. Chloe will adjust. Kids are resilient. And Spencer, he'll survive. He always does. I read that line 3 times. He'll survive. He always does. 14 years of marriage reduced to a footnote in her exit strategy. I checked the date on the message. 2 weeks ago, right around the time she'd started asking questions about her finances. About the house. About my parents' estate. The house. The one my parents had bought for us as a wedding gift. The one they'd worked 30 years to afford. My father had died of a heart attack 4 years ago. My mother followed 6 months later, broken by grief. That house was all I had left of them. And Lydia wanted to take half of it so she could run off with the man who signed my paychecks. I heard footsteps approaching. I closed the tablet, slid it back in her bag, and picked up my water glass. My hand didn't shake. My breathing stayed even. Lydia returned, phone still in her hand, smiling that empty smile. She sat down across from me, set her phone on the table, and reached for her wine. Chloe's having a great time, she said brightly. They're doing some kind of scavenger hunt. I nodded. That's good. She glanced at her phone again. Another message. She picked it up, read it, typed a quick response. I watched her, this woman I'd loved, this woman I'd built a life with, and I realized something. I didn't want to scream at her. I didn't want to flip the table or cause a scene. I wanted something much more permanent. I wanted her to see exactly what she'd done, and I wanted her to see it through someone else's eyes. I pushed my chair back and stood. Lydia looked up, surprised. Where are you going? Just need to stretch my legs, I said calmly. Take a walk. Clear my head. She nodded, already looking back at her phone. Don't be long. They're serving dessert soon. I walked away from the table, past the other diners, past the string lights and the laughter. I had a phone call to make. The parking lot was quiet, just the distant sound of music drifting from the wedding reception tent. I stood next to my car, phone in hand, staring at Angela's contact information. Angela Hartley. My cousin. We'd grown up together, spent summers at my grandparents' lake house. She was like a sister to me. When she married Raymond 12 years ago, I'd been happy for her. He seemed stable, successful, respectful. Now I had to tell her that her husband was planning to run away with my wife. The phone rang twice before she picked up. Spencer. Her voice was cautious, surprised. Everything okay? Angela, I need to talk to you. It's important. I kept my voice level controlled. It's about Raymond. And Lydia. Silence on the other end. Not shocked silence. The kind of silence that comes when someone's worst suspicions get confirmed. Where are you? She asked finally. Riverside Resort. Lake Hawthorne. There's a coffee shop in town, about 10 minutes away. Sullivan's Cafe. Can you meet me there? I'm 20 minutes out, Angela said. No hesitation. No questions. Just immediate action. I'll be there. She hung up. I got in my car and drove into town, hands steady on the wheel. The cafe was small, tucked between a bookstore and a pharmacy. I parked out front and waited. 15 minutes later, Angela's silver sedan pulled up. She stepped out, and I barely recognized her. She lost weight. Her face looked drawn, tired, dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. We went inside. I bought 2 coffees, and we sat at a corner table away from the windows. How long have you known? Angela asked before I could say anything. About an hour, I said. You? I've suspected for months. She wrapped her hand around the coffee cup. Little things. Late nights at the office. Business trips that didn't make sense. He changed his phone password in February. Told me it was for work security. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots I'd taken from Lydia's tablet. The messages. The hotel reservations. The plan to leave. Angela read them without expression, but her knuckles went white around the cup. They're planning to run, I said quietly. Charlotte. After the summer. They got all mapped out. My house, Angela said, her voice flat. The one Raymond and I bought. It's in both our names. He'll try to force a sale. My house is from my parents, I said. Wedding gift. They're both gone now. It's all I have left of them. Lydia wants half. Angela looked up at me, and I saw something shift in her expression. Not grief. Not shock. Something colder. Sharper. What do you want to do? She asked. I want them to see each other, I said. Really see what they've done. Not just to us. To our families. Angela nodded slowly. When? Tonight. Right now. Come back to the resort with me. What's your plan? You walk in. Sit down at our table. Don't say a word. Just let Lydia see your face. Angela considered this for a long moment. Then she stood up. Let's go. We drove back to the resort in separate cars. I told Angela to wait in the parking lot. Give me 5 minutes to get back to the table, then come find us on the terrace. While I walked back through the resort, everything looked exactly as I'd left it. String lights, laughter, couples holding hands, the illusion of happiness. Lydia was still at our table, phone in hand, smiling at something on her screen. She didn't even look up when I sat down. That was a long walk, she said absently. Needed it. I replied, reaching for my water. She typed another message, hit send, and set her phone down. Dessert's here. I ordered you the chocolate cake. Thanks. She picked up her fork, took a bite of her cheesecake, and glanced at her phone again. Always checking. Always waiting for the next message. I looked past her shoulder toward the terrace entrance and saw Angela step through the doorway. She moved with purpose, shoulders back, chin up. No hesitation. She crossed the terrace, eyes locked on our table. Lydia noticed my gaze shift and turned to see what I was looking at. Her face went pale. Angela reached our table and pulled out the empty third chair. She sat down, folded her hands in her lap, and looked directly at Lydia. Lydia's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her fork clattered on her plate. Spencer, she whispered. What is this? This is Angela, I said calmly. Raymond's wife. My cousin. I thought you two should finally meet properly. Lydia's eyes darted between us, searching for an exit that didn't exist. I don't understand. Yes, you do, Angela said quietly. It was the first time she'd spoken since sitting down. Her voice was steady, cold. You've been texting my husband all night, sitting right next to yours. Lydia's hand shot to her phone, but I was faster. I picked it up and held it just out of her reach. Looking for this? I asked. She stared at me, then at Angela, then back at me. I watched the calculation happening behind her eyes. Deny, deflect, spin. But there was nowhere to spin. Not with Angela sitting 3 feet away. Not with the messages still on her tablet. Not with the truth laid bare between us like shattered glass. I can explain. Lydia started, her voice shaking. Don't, I said. We already know everything. The look on her face right then, the moment she realized she'd been caught, exposed, cornered, was something I'd remember for the rest of my life. Beautiful. Lydia's hands were shaking. She reached for her wine glass, nearly knocked it over, then pulled her hand back. Her eyes kept darting between Angela and me, looking for some crack in our resolve, some opening she could exploit. She wasn't going to find one. Spencer, please, Lydia said, her voice tight. Can we talk about this privately? No, I said simply. Angela deserves to hear this. She's been living the same lie I have. Lydia turned to Angela, desperation creeping into her expression. Angela, I don't know what he told you, but this is all a misunderstanding. Angela didn't blink. Is it? So you haven't been texting my husband all evening? You haven't been planning to leave with him? Lydia's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots. November 14th. The Grandview Hotel, Boston. You told me you were at an investment summit. Room 412 was registered to R. Hartley. Lydia went pale. January 23rd. I continued. Chicago. You said it was a client emergency. Except there was no client. Just Raymond. Spencer, stop, she whispered. March 9th. Denver. Portfolio review, you said. But the only thing you were reviewing was how to steal from your husband and run away with his boss. Angela leaned forward slightly. How much money did you take, Lydia? Lydia looked at her, eyes wide. I didn't take. $150,000, I said, my voice flat. From our joint savings. Moved in small increments over 6 months. You thought I wouldn't notice. That's our money, Lydia said weakly. Was our money, I corrected. You stole it. Just like you stole time from our marriage. From our kids. She flinched at that. The kids don't need to know about this. Levi already suspects something, I said. He's 16, not blind. And Chloe. I paused, letting the weight settle. Chloe's 9. She still thinks you're a good person. Lydia's face twisted. I'm trying to be happy. Spencer. Is that so wrong? With my boss? I asked. With Angela's husband? While lying to everyone. Yeah, Lydia. That's wrong. Angela spoke up, her voice cold and measured. The house you live in, Lydia. Spencer's parents bought that for you. As a wedding gift. And you want to take half of it so you can start over with my husband. Lydia looked down at the table. It's community property. It's theft, Angela said. Emotional and financial. And you're not getting away with it. Lydia's composure finally shattered. Tears started streaming down her face, but they felt calculated, performative. I never meant to hurt anyone. But you did, I said quietly. You hurt me. You hurt Angela. You hurt our families. And you did it while sitting 2 feet away from me, smiling like I was too stupid to notice. I stood up, and Angela stood with me. Lydia looked up, panic flashing across her face. Where are you going? Away from you, I said. Angela and I have things to discuss. Lawyers to call. Evidence to compile. Spencer, please, don't leave me here like this. I looked at her one last time. You left me months ago, Lydia. I'm just making it official. Angela and I walked away together, leaving Lydia alone at the table, tears streaming down her face, phone dark and silent in front of her. Angela and I sat in my car in the resort parking lot. Engine off, windows down. The night air was cool, and in the distance, I could still hear music from the wedding reception. What now? Angela asked, staring straight ahead. Now we get everything documented, I said. I've already taken screenshots of the messages. Bank records. Hotel receipts. Everything. I have access to Raymond's credit card statements, Angela said. I can pull those. Show the pattern. Good. We'll need a lawyer. A good one. Angela nodded. I know someone. Divorce attorney in Hartford. She's ruthless. Perfect. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Angela said, The house. Your parents' house. You're not letting her take that, right? Not a chance, I said. That house is the only thing I've left of them. My father worked 30 years to buy it. My mother died 6 months after he did because she couldn't imagine living without him. That house is their legacy. Lydia doesn't get a profit from their memory. We'll fight it, Angela said firmly. Gift property. Premarital asset. We'll make sure it stays yours. What about you? I asked. Your house with Raymond? We bought it together 5 years ago, Angela said. It's in both our names. But I don't care about the house. I care about making sure he doesn't get to walk away clean. I looked at her. What do you mean? Raymond's the chief risk officer of your company, Angela said. He's in a position of power. He's having an affair with a subordinate's wife. That's an ethics violation. Maybe even grounds for termination. I hadn't thought of that. You want to report him? I want him to face consequences, Angela said. Real ones. Not just a divorce settlement. I want his career to feel the impact of what he's done. I considered this. Raymond had signed my performance reviews, approved my raises, acted like a mentor, all while sleeping with my wife. Do it, I said. Angela pulled out her phone. I'll draft an email to the company's ethics board tonight. Anonymous tip. Let them investigate. They'll find everything, I said. Company devices, email trails, calendar appointments that don't match up. Exactly. Angela looked at me. What about Lydia? What's your plan? Divorce. Full custody of the kids. I'll fight for the house, the savings, everything. She can have whatever's left after her lawyer fees. And Raymond. Let him have her, I said. Let them both see what it's like to build a life on lies. It won't last 6 months. Angela smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You sound sure. I am. People who cheat together don't trust each other. They'll always wonder if the other one's doing the same thing behind their back. Angela nodded slowly. You're right. We sat there for another minute. 2 people whose lives had just imploded, making plans in a parking lot while a wedding celebrated love 50 yards away. Thank you, Angela said finally, for calling me, for not letting me stay in the dark. Thank you for coming, I said, for sitting there, for making her see. Angela reached over and squeezed my hand once. Then she opened the car door. I should get home, start making calls. Me too. She paused before getting out. Spencer, we're going to be okay. Both of us. I wanted to believe her. Yeah, we will. She drove away, and I sat alone in my car, staring at the resort where my wife was probably still sitting at that table, wondering how everything fell apart so fast. It didn't fall apart fast. It fell apart slowly, one lie at a time. I'd just been the one to finally notice. I didn't go back to the room that night. Instead, I drove to a hotel 15 miles away, checked in under my name, and sat on the edge of the bed staring at my phone. Lydia had called 6 times, left 4 voicemails, each one progressively more desperate. "Spencer, please pick up. We need to talk. I know you're angry, but this isn't fair. Just let me explain. You can't just leave me here. What am I supposed to tell the kids? Answer your phone, please." I deleted them all without listening to the end. Then I called my brother, Daniel. He lived 2 hours away in Boston, worked as a corporate attorney. If anyone knew how to navigate this, it was him. He picked up on the second ring. "Spence, it's 11 at night. Everything okay?" "No," I said. "Lydia's been having an affair. With Raymond Hartley, my boss." Silence. Then, "God, are you sure?" "Positive. I found messages. Hotel reservations. Bank transfers. They're planning to run off together. To Charlotte." "How much did she take?" "150,000. From our joint savings." Daniel let out a low whistle. "That's theft. Financial fraud during marriage. That's serious. I need a lawyer, Dan. The best one you know. I'll make calls first thing Monday morning," he said. "But listen, you need to protect yourself right now. Document everything. Don't delete anything. Screenshot every message, every bank statement, every receipt." "Already done." "Good. Where are you now?" "Hotel. Outside Hawthorne. I can't be near her right now." "What about the kids?" I hadn't thought about that. Levi and Chloe were still at the resort, probably asleep, probably thinking their parents were just having a nice weekend away. "I'll get them in the morning," I said. "Take them home. Figure out what to tell them." "Don't tell them anything yet," Daniel advised. "Not until we have legal counsel. Anything you say to them could be used in custody proceedings." Custody. The word hit me like a fist to the chest. "She's not taking my kids, Dan. She won't," he said firmly. "We'll fight this. All of it. The house, the money, the kids. But you need to stay smart. Don't do anything emotional. No confrontations. No threats. Just cold, calculated legal action." "I can do that." "I know you can. You're a risk analyst. Treat this like a risk assessment. What's your exposure? What's your leverage? How do you minimize loss?" I took a breath. He was right. This was just another problem to solve. Another set of variables to manage. "Thanks, Dan. Call me tomorrow. We'll strategize." He hung up, and I sat there in the silence of a hotel room that smelled like cleaning products and other people's mistakes. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Lydia. "Please come back. I'm sorry. I'll end it with Raymond. We can fix this." I turned my phone face down on the nightstand and lay back on the bed. She wanted to fix it, like it was a broken appliance. Like 14 years of marriage could be repaired with an apology and a promise. Some things, once broken, stay broken. Tomorrow I'd go back. I'd get my kids. I'd start the process of dismantling the life I thought I had and building something new. But tonight, I just needed the quiet. I woke up at 6, showered, and drove back to the resort. The parking lot was quieter now, just a few cars belonging to overnight guests. The wedding tent was being dismantled, white fabric fluttering in the morning breeze. I went straight to our room. Lydia was sitting on the bed, still in last night's dress, makeup smeared. She looked like she hadn't slept. She stood up the moment I walked in. "Spencer, thank God. I thought you'd." "Where are the kids?" I interrupted. "Still asleep. Chloe's in the adjoining room. Levi's down the hall. Get them up. We're leaving." "Spencer, please, we need to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about," I said, walking past her to grab my suitcase. "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." She followed me into the bathroom where I started packing my toiletries. "It's not that simple. We have a family. A life together." "Had." I corrected. Past tense. "You're not even going to let me explain." I turned to face her. "What's there to explain, Lydia? You've been cheating on me for months. You stole $150,000 from our savings. You planned to abandon our family and move to Charlotte with my boss. What part of that needs clarification?" Her eyes filled with tears. I was confused. I felt trapped. Raymond made me feel. "I don't care," I said flatly. "I don't care how he made you feel. I don't care about your justifications. I care about protecting my kids and what's left of my life. Our kids, she said desperately. They're our kids, Spencer. I looked at her for a long moment. There was something I needed to know, something that had been eating at me since I found those messages. Are they? I asked quietly. She blinked. What? Are they both mine? Her face went pale. How dare you? Answer the question, Lydia. Are Levi and Chloe both biologically mine? She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked away. That hesitation told me everything. Oh my God, I said, the realization hitting like a sledgehammer. Chloe, Spencer, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My voice rose for the first time. You've been lying to me about my own daughter. She is your daughter, Lydia said quickly. In every way that matters. You raised her. You love her. But she's Raymond's. Lydia didn't answer. She didn't have to. I felt something inside me shut down completely. Not rage. Not grief. Just a cold, absolute finality. Get the kids ready, I said, my voice eerily calm. We're leaving in 20 minutes. You're not coming with us. You can't take my children. Watch me, I said. You can explain to them why Mommy's staying behind. Or I will. She stared at me, realizing I meant it. Spencer, please. 20 minutes, Lydia. Or I tell them everything right now. I walked out of the room, down the hall to where Levi was staying. I knocked on his door. He opened it, hair messy, still in his pajamas. Dad, what's going on? Pack your stuff, I said. We're heading home early. Why? Where's Mom? She's staying a little longer. Work stuff. I'll explain in the car. He looked confused but nodded. Okay, give me 10 minutes. I want to get Chloe next. She was awake, watching cartoons on the TV in the adjoining room. Morning, sweetheart, I said, sitting on the edge of her bed. Hi, Daddy, she said, smiling. Are we having breakfast with Mommy? I looked at her. 9 years old. Dark hair, green eyes. Raymond's eyes. How had I never noticed? We're gonna head home. Actually, I said, keeping my voice gentle. Want to help me pack your things? Okay. She hopped off the bed, completely oblivious to the fact that her entire world was about to change. I helped her pack, and 20 minutes later, we were in the car. Levi in the passenger seat, Chloe in the back. Lydia stood in the parking lot, watching us leave, phone in her hand. I didn't look back. The DNA results came back on Thursday. I sat in my car outside the lab, staring at the envelope for a full 5 minutes before opening it. Levi, 99.9% probability of paternity. My son. Chloe, 0% probability of paternity. Not my daughter. Biologically. I read it 3 times, waiting for some emotion to hit. Anger. Betrayal. Grief. But all I felt was a cold, settled certainty. I'd known. Somewhere deep down, I'd always known. I drove home and called my lawyer brother immediately. Dan, the test came back. Chloe's not mine. I'm sorry, Spence. That's rough. What does this mean legally? It means you have options, Daniel said. You can fight for custody of Levi only. Or you can argue for presumed paternity with Chloe. You've raised her for 9 years. You're her father in every way that matters. I want custody of both, I said without hesitation. Chloe doesn't deserve to lose her dad because her mother lied. Then that's what we'll fight for. But Lydia will use this against you. She'll argue that since Chloe's not yours, you have no biological claim. Let her try. That evening, my phone rang. Raymond Hartley. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. What do you want, Raymond? Spencer. His voice was smooth, controlled. The same voice he used in board meetings. I think we need to talk. Man to man. We have nothing to talk about. I disagree. This situation has gotten out of hand. It doesn't have to be this way. You're right, I said. It didn't have to be this way. But you made your choice. Spencer, listen. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But think about your career. Your position at Fortis. We can work this out. I almost laughed. Are you threatening my job? I'm offering a solution. $500,000. Cash. Clean break. You walk away, file for divorce quietly, and we all move on with our lives. 500,000. Blood money. Hush money. Payment for destroying my family. You think you can buy me? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. I think we can all be reasonable adults about this, Raymond said. That's enough money to start over. Set yourself up nicely. Take care of the kids. Let me make something very clear, Raymond. You can't buy your way out of this. Not for 500,000. Not for 5 million. You destroyed my marriage, stole my money, lied about my daughter, and now you think you can make it disappear with a check. Spencer, be smart about this. I'm being smart, I interrupted. Smart enough to record this conversation. Smart enough to forward it to the ethics board at Fortis. Smart enough to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. Silence on the other end. You're making a mistake, Raymond said coldly. No, you made the mistake. I'm just making sure you pay for it. I hung up. Then I called Angela. Raymond just tried to bribe me. 500,000 to keep quiet. He's desperate, Angela said. Good. The ethics investigation started Monday. They've already pulled his email records. How long until they make a decision? My lawyer says 2 weeks, maybe 3. But it's not looking good for him. Affair with a subordinate spouse, financial irregularities, abuse of position. He's done. Good, I said. Let him lose everything. The divorce was finalized in March. Lydia got nothing. No house, no savings, no custody. The judge ruled in my favor on every point. Financial fraud, infidelity, paternity fraud. She walked away with her personal belongings and a court order to stay 50 feet away from the house my parents had left me. Raymond was fired from Fortis Financial in January. The ethics board found multiple violations, including misuse of company resources and inappropriate relationships. His career in finance was over. Last I heard, he was working sales at a car dealership in Newark. Lydia moved in with him 2 months after the divorce. They lasted 6 weeks before she moved out. Turns out, building a life on lies doesn't work when you can't trust the person you lied with. Angela's divorce was finalized around the same time as mine. She got the house, half of Raymond's pension, and a settlement that left him working 2 jobs to make payments. Levi adjusted better than I expected. He's 17 now, applying to colleges, living his life. We don't talk about his mother much. He texts her occasionally, sees her for supervised visits when she bothers to show up. Chloe was harder. She's 10 now, and she doesn't understand why Mommy doesn't live with us anymore. I haven't told her about the paternity test. Maybe I never will. As far as she's concerned, I'm her dad, and I always will be. The custody hearing for Chloe was brutal. Lydia's lawyer argued I had no biological claim. My lawyer argued 9 years of fatherhood. The judge ruled in my favor. Presumed paternity. I cried in the courtroom when he announced it. Some nights, Chloe still asks when Mommy's coming home. I tell her Mommy has her own place now, but Daddy's here. Always. I got a new job in February. Different firm, same field. Better pay. No Raymond Hartley looking over my shoulder. Angela helped me with the application. She works in HR now, consulting for mid-sized firms. We have coffee sometimes. Not romantic. Just 2 people who survived the same storm and figured out how to rebuild. Last month, Connor, the friend whose wedding started all of this, called to check in. How are you doing, man? He asked. Better, I said honestly. Different, but better. I'm sorry it all went down at my wedding. Don't be. If it hadn't happened there, it would have happened somewhere else. At least this way, I knew the truth. We talked for a while longer, and when I hung up, I looked around my living room. Levi was doing homework at the kitchen table. Chloe was coloring on the floor, humming to herself. My house, my kids, my life. Not the life I planned, but the life I chose when everything fell apart. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything.